Morning YouTube. So in this video today, it's a little bit dark outside, so I've had to bring in the impromptu stage lighting. I'm giving away all these secrets today. Let me just knock that down a little bit. Very nice. So in this video today, I want to just go through my goals for next year. Now, I think everybody should set goals, even if, so for me, when I first started the business, I thought, right, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to treat it like a business. I had a lot of people in my own life that was like, oh, no, you'll never do it, you know, will you be able to, how do you do this, out, just naysayers. And I thought to myself, well, you know, I know I can do it, so for me to do it, I'll treat it like it's a business. And sometimes I go, so I keep good notes, good records, and I always set myself goals and targets. But onto the point of treating it like a business, I definitely do. I like to think I do. I try and treat it as close to a business as I can. And try this out. If any big purchases, big decisions, big changes within the business, put it to the board. Who are the board? The board's in your head, mate. Write down what you need to, put it on pen to paper, and try and look at it from every avenue. Try and think, is it right for the company? Is it financially right for the company? You know, don't just ask the nearest and dearest. Ask people who will give you the proper answers. I found this, and this isn't just me discovering this, but a lot of people, friends and family, some of them will tell you what they think you want to hear, which isn't helpful at all, admittedly. And then some of them, not many, but you'll have some of them, guaranteed, they will basically tell you something that won't be helpful in the hopes of it keeps them down. It's like the worst form of love and jealousy in a way. They'll say something because they've never done it, never experienced it. They will do something to keep you down, and that's people like that. I always refer to them as naysayers, and it's very important to try and find them and root them out. You don't need to get rid of them. You don't need to, you know, get rid of family and friends because they're a naysayer. But you just need to be mindful and very sort of cognizant, or whatever it is, that there is people like that, and you don't want to fall victim to them. That's what I'm saying. And it took me a while to work that out, unfortunately. But ask people, you know, ask yourself, ask the board, you know, board air quotes, put it to pen and paper, because some of my things I've had to do that, and some of the things in your business you'll have to do that as well. And if in doubt, look for good, solid advice. Don't listen to the first bloke on YouTube. Don't listen to me. Listen to many others. And if all of our outcomes align with yours, then odds on you're right, and odds on we're probably right. And then, you know, speak to different people. Speak to friends. I'm lucky that the friends that I have are quite mature. They've ran businesses. They've been self-employed. They've ran companies. Different companies, different businesses, so I can get advice from them all, and I can get good advice. And at the same time, I've got this platform, in air quotes, where I can ask you guys. And from what I've seen so far, comment wise, I think the comments that I get are brilliant, and I think they'll help anybody out there. I think often between me and you, some of the comments, you know, then people are commenting are far more knowledgeable than the bloke doing the video. So if you can, always read through the comments. You don't need to, you know, like any of them. You do not, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that to boost my channel, but look through the comments. And I often think some of the comments you see on the videos, other gardeners' videos, that's where the real gold lies sometimes. It's like concentrated information, that little nuggets that say, I took 30 minutes to explain. Well, actually, the bloke commenting summed it up in 3 sentences, you know. So always try and look out for comments like that, or comments in general. So trust yourself, trust your process, trust your business, trust the right people. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say on that. So my goals and targets for this year, what are they? Well, first and foremost, need to get this operation out of the way. That's going to be happening 5 days from now. Get that all done and dusted, and then basically I'm going to probably be on my arse, sitting on my arse for a few weeks. Plan is to build myself up, get better, get ready for work, and then when the season starts, My goal for this season is to smash it. Now obviously I've got to be a bit gingerly careful at the start, but as you'll get along you'll realise, hopefully, if I've got it in my head right, that actually there's a method behind the madness. Well, you know. So what I want from this year is I'm being very selective on what work I want. Now admittedly we all are, but you can't hold out for it sometimes. So I'll tell you what work I'm after. I want more small in and out jobs. I want, you know, them jobs where people say, oh, it's only small, it won't take you long, you know, I've had other people who are not interested. I'm the bloke for you. I don't care if I'm only here for 20 minutes mowing a square postage size piece of lawn, because I often find that people like that, the majority of the cases, they appreciate it and they value it a lot more than if you're there for say an hour just continuously cutting grass. I also find a price you can commandeer when you work it out as like an hourly price or a minute price, it's often far higher than say if you are working at somebody else's price, say working at somebody else's for like an hour or 2 hours. I know realistically it should all be the same, but pricing per job, I find sometimes you can go to a grass cut, 10-20 minute grass cut, and you could be £20-25 and the customer's more than happy to pay it. You know, you're happy, you're in and out, and that's what I want. More of these little jobs, and that's what I'll be looking for. How do you look for? You've got to cast a net, but at the same time, if somebody comes and says, right, I've got, you know, grass is going to take me a couple of hours, I'm not going to be passing on it. Bloody hell, I'm going to be taking what work I can, and hopefully over time it should concentrate down. You know, even if I have to do, you know, a season of, you know, you just concentrate it down. You can't say, no, I'll miss this lead, I'll miss this lead. It might coming up, because it might not, or it might do. But that's an outline. That's the sort of work I'm looking for, the small in and outy jobs. January I picked up a couple of new customers, and these couple of customers are what I always refer to as and wheners. These are the sort of people that if you get in with them, so, and like, I think sometimes people can be quite dismissive of these people, so they'll probably say to you like, oh well, I'm not after a gardener, but I just need this I just need a tidy up, or I just need this doing. And you might go and you might think, well, there's not actually much that needs doing here. Well, that's fine, because if you put in like a price on it, again, you could be there half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever, just tidying it up, and you can still commandeer a good price for it. But you might not be there for a few months, but the garden's not going to go to rack and ruin in that time, because it's a low maintenance garden, and the customer themselves won't let it. Quite often people who have, you know, me in every so often, they're actually house proud and they just want to keep the garden nice. It's basically the big stuff they struggle on, and all they're doing is they're getting the muscle in me. Well, you know what I mean, they're getting a donkey then, me. So people like that, I find, try and keep hold on them if you can, because once they've found somebody they know and they trust and they like, who charges a reasonable price, they'll have you forever. I've got customers where I've been there 4 years and I only go to them once every couple of, you know, probably twice a year, but they're normally juicy jobs and decent jobs, and I can rely on them. I can't rely on that I'm always going to get the work, but I know if they book me in, they want me, they're not going to cancel. And the variety of the work as well. Again, this is why I always say about additional services. If you're just a grass cutting guy or just a gardener, you don't do anything else, you'll only be doing them things, and there's no harm in it. But for me, with doing the exterior cleaning and stuff, and it's like these last 2 customers I picked up, we know I do that, and they're like, yeah, well, we'll get that done one day, we'll get that done the other day. One of the customers, I've got it down for a roof scrape. You know, yeah, am I doing roof scraping now? Not really. But it's a bungalow, and the pole that I've got will fit, and I can buy a scrape head, which isn't much money, and it's going to be a nice little bit of money, it is. So as I said, these small little jobs and these as and when jobs, I love them. I love people like that, I really do. So my goal for customers is this year I would like to pick up 5 extra regular customers of that type, you know, the small jobs where you're in, you know, you're in and out every couple of weeks, whatever. I find the as and when is as many as them as I can, because you can slot them in wherever, and they're normally very easy going. So they could, you know, they could ring up and say, well, I've got some free time today, you know, because you know it's going to be a small job, you know it's going to be something you can slot in. So I want 5 more regular customers. Preferentially, I would like them to be what I've described, which is the small in and outy stuff. But then if for 5, you know, lawn cuts, you know, I'll have them. But if it is that you know, if the first one I come to, and I've got to be still very careful, I'm still going to be at risk for hernias, I'm still going to be at risk for causing myself mischief. So I'm not going to be going and doing these bloody mauling jobs anymore. Like, blooming hell, there's jobs I've done where you know, you're carrying a mower up. The worst one I had last year, she was a lovely lady, but she had a bad garden. I had to carry a mower up 2 flights of steps, and there were steep steps, handrail on one side, stupid, you know, broken ankle on the other side. And then once I got up that, I had to get up another set of steps, like half a flight of steps. And then once I was on the top of the patio, the hills were like that, the garden was like that all the way around. Absolute nightmare. It's the only ever time I thought about buying a plug-in mower, because like a little fly mower thing, because that would be brilliant for something that size. So yeah, nice easy work, that's what I want this year. That's what I'll be prioritising. Exterior cleaning, I think if you watched the video where I talked about it last year, I'm still continuing on that path. So we're on to the 2-year goal this year, which is I want to be taking 10,000 a year. But I think it's possible, I really do. I think it could be done. So that's what I'm looking at this year, increasing the turnover from 5 to 10,000. I beat that last year. I think I'm somewhere like halfway. So hopefully can do that. How am I going to do it? Advertising. I'm going to be pushing the advert out into local paper, and I'm probably going to strike out more doing Facebook. I don't think I'll do the Facebook paid ads, but I find having that presence there and having something to refer people back to. But then admittedly, people say to me, they're like, well, why don't you do more Facebook? It's because my existing customers don't use Facebook because they're all old, and at the same time, it's not that I have a preference for who I want to work for, but I found I have more luck working for OAPs. And I know that sounds strange, because actually when you look at the majority of videos that when people are talking about bad customers, they're OAPs, and I think, well, I have great luck with them, you know, OAPs love me. But, you know, but then again, of all the bad customers I've dealt with, they've been OAPs. But then that's my sort of, you know, that's my pool of people I work around. Statistically, I suppose I'm more likely to pick up bad customers who happen to be OAPs. But, you know, it is what it is. So yeah, increasing turnover, that's the big one for both businesses actually. I have put the prices up for probably half of the customers, just to keep everybody sort of in line. I've been telling some of the customers, and then the rest of them I'll be telling them before I start a new season. The reaction I've got so far has been okay. You know, I actually had one lady who told me no. She said, I'm not paying that, I'll pay double of what you want. So I wanted to put the price up by £2.50. She says, no, you can put it up by £5. So, you know, you win some, you lose some, don't you? But this was definitely a win with this lady, and she's a lovely lady actually. So yeah, more turnover for both businesses, 5 extra regular customers. We want to be hitting a 10,000 mark with the exterior cleaning business. I think that's doable. I might be eating my words, but I might not. What it's going to do is, all these goals, even if you don't hit them, it's going to push you. It's going to push me to advertise, push me to every customer I go to. So every customer I go to, if it's a garden inquiry, I tell them, hey, I also do exterior cleaning. You might have seen my advert. Every person I do exterior cleaning for, hey, I'm a gardener. You know, and you're getting your feet in with both sets of people, as I said. And this is why I always say about customer care and customer relations, and, you know, talking to customers, is just that alone, just by talking to people, it gets you in with people, and people think, oh, you know, he seems a nice chap. And like I say, you can do one job and you can make an impression, and you will be their go-to guy for years. They will keep having you. They'll keep going back to Joe Blogs or Joe's Grass Cutting or Sam with SGM. They'll keep going back to you. You can do one job for. I've done it before with one job like years ago, and they've rung me back up and said, hey, are you still gardening? Yeah. Oh, fantastic. We managed to find your number. Could you come back and do this? So, as I said, always, you know, smile, be that, you know, smile. Hey, how's your day going? you know, maybe 5 minutes of, you know, listening to them talking about it, that will pay for itself in the long run. Kit wise, I think I'm turning into Scott now. I want to invest more into the kit if I can. Obviously it's got to be proportional. I don't want to be spending everything on kit, but my mindset with tools especially is, I honestly think and Scott's highlighted this, he's got a real fancy chipper. Yes, it's expensive, that would be out of my budget if I'm being honest with you, but a comparable similar one to the spec that I wanted to is doable. But for Scott, this chipper is allowing him to cut down on waste, cut down on manpower, cut down on time. It's allowing him to be more productive. I do think good kit and the right choice makes your job easier and makes your life easier. Basically, you're not going home knackered, you know, you're not mauling. So I'm looking at getting a chipper or a shredder next year. I think I'm going to get one of the Elite ones, or Alliot ones, or the Allioti, or however you pronounce them. So I'm thinking of getting one of them. I am arranging a demo with one, so hopefully I should have a demo of the Major 4S next year. Sorry, this year. Sorry, I'm a year behind. So this year I should have a demo, and then I'll make my mind up. I am thinking of getting one. I have actually, one of the other pieces of kit I wanted was a Nemos Mug 2, the weed ripper and the moss bush that I showed on the previous videos or videos gone past, and I've got one. I went out and bought it. One come up on eBay at the right price. It was in my budget, so to speak, even though we're just at the start of the year, and I went for it, and I'm happy with it. I've been telling all my customers about it. Any people I think it'll be used for, I'm letting them know, and I'm showing it to them. And the best way actually is I did a YouTube short of it. It's the easiest way. It's a 50-second video, and I can show it to them, and they fucking understand, like, yeah, I know what that is, other than me saying, oh, it's a moss brush, you know. So already that's getting people thinking, that's getting people, you know, so it's getting work. I've already done a couple of jobs with it so far. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I think they're a fantastic machine. So yeah, another thing I want this year is how do you explain it? I don't want to be paying the mental tax, and what I mean by that is I've always been quite easygoing with people, and I think people I've let them take advantage, or they've took advantage of either my goodwill or my sort of not wanting to rock the boat. So anybody this year, now obviously it's a sliding scale, if it's just little things, you know, it can slide, but if it keeps happening, then, you know, they'll get two chances. You know, I can't put this down as like procedure, because there's always that variance, but basically it starts from the worst. So if I go to quote for someone and my spider senses are going, and I'm thinking, fuck, I don't entertain it, I won't take the job on, I'll walk away. It can be somebody else's problem. If I take somebody else's on, they'll get one chance. And if it's a major one, or if fuck me about, or, you know, anything major, they'll get one chance. So anything minor. If it's a major one, I'll walk away from it down there, I'll never see him again. But people will get one chance, and if they use that, then that's it. And if they start going down the route of, do you think it'll last 3? Do you think it'll last 4 weeks? You know, and if you can tell that's going to be the thing, then I'll just say, look, I only, you know, we're take it or leave it case. What I'm saying is, I'm not going to turn into an arsehole, but I'm going to fucking stand my ground, because I've had it a couple of times last year where I've had it, and I think sometimes you need to be put into situations, stressful or situations that reiterate that and make it like that. I had an incident today, and I was actually quite happy with myself, because I was walking on a car park, and I was walking out, and this bloke, he just went round me, but he nearly hit me. It's like trying to get round me. Let it slide. I'm not a confrontational guy. Let it slide. And I went, and I was at the parking meter, and he fucking called me out. He swore at me. He was like, fucking fat wank, or something like that. And I looked at him, and I goes, is there a problem? And he goes, yeah, you're not watching where you're going. I said, mate, it's a car park, expect obstacles, expect pedestrians. I said, I was crossing the road, you tried to go around me and nearly hit me. He says, well, you need to show some manners. And I'm like, mate, you're the one swearing at me right now. I says, I'm not being confrontational swearing at you. He says, do I need to go out my car and take this further? I says, mate, I don't think it needs to come to that, does it? And he roared off. And I'm not saying that to be fucking big bollocks, I'm not at all. I don't like confrontation. But that little scenario of how it was handled and how I think it was handled and how I think it went, you know, obviously the men out there would be like, no, you should have butted him one, lamped him, you know, sucker punched him, whatever, finger up his arse, anything. But how it was and how I felt after, it was like, yeah, that's fine. Because normally I'd worry about that and I'd stress. Didn't, because it was handled well, as I think. So sometimes you've got to make mistakes. Sometimes you've got to crack a few eggs to get to this magic omelette. But at this point in time, and all what's happened last year with the operation being cancelled, it stressed me out no end, if I'm being honest with you. I try not to talk about it. Maybe I should, because well, I can't say mental health because I don't think it affected my mental health. It just got me down. And I think sometimes there's a lot of people that say it affects them, leaning on it, and it doesn't affect them, and it dilutes it for people who it really does. So that's why I try and not mention it, because I don't want to take it away from somebody else. I think it's good that more people are talking about it, but I think sometimes people, like when people say I've got ADHD, but they use it in a positive thing. Like, I remember when we used to hire cleaners, they all had ADHD, but they all said it because, yeah, it makes me a better cleaner. I'm like, but it's diluting it for people who really suffer with it. But anyway, that's me. I'll get off my soapbox now. But last year was quite stressful. But what's come out of that is actually, and this is what I'm going to say to you now before I go, is it showed me, and I don't talk to, I talk with YouTube, you always talk about stuff that I always try and talk about things that will either help people or entertain people. I don't believe in clickbaity stuff. I think you could definitely make them clickbaity, but I don't want to. I want to try and give it the facts, but at the same time, it's with YouTube, you've got to talk about what you think is going to be interesting and also what's going to do well. So for me, I talk about the bad experiences. I think talking about a bad experience is sometimes better than a good experience, because everybody's got their version of good, but the bad one's normally all on one level, isn't it? Unless it's really bad. So that's why I always tend to talk about the bad. And the thing is, what I've found is by talking about the bad stuff, it sort of brings highlight to it. But also what it does is it could give people the impression that actually I have got a shitty customer base, and I haven't. And this is what I'm getting round to after fucking rambling on, is that my customer base, I think, solid. They're really good. And what last year's taught me, and this year's going to teach me, and every other year, is, and this is what I'm hopefully trying to get across to you now, is customers will stick by you. They've stuck by me, they understand the situation, they will stick by you, they will look out for you, they will help you, and all they expect, you don't need a big van, you don't need the best tools, you don't need the best of this, the best training, you just need to be reliable, on time, friendly, reliable, and charge a fair price. Now I know that last one's subjective, and they'll keep you, they'll look after you, and they'll help you. And I see a lot of this, and I'll try and do more of this next year, but I see a lot of posts where people pull down customers, or like OAPs, people that I never work for OAPs, you know, I'll never work for rich people, I'll never work for poor people, I'll never work for this, never work for that. But it's how you treat them, and, you know, to a degree how they treat you. But in my experience, there's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of people that want to help you and help your business, and that's what I've discovered last year. And that's why this year, when I'm going into a hospital appointment, which is probably going to leave me off for more than a month, in the end of Jan, going on the 23rd, as soon as I found out, I was worried, because I thought, fucking hell, that's just before the start of the season. What happens if there's a problem? You know, you're always thinking about these what ifs. But what it's taught me, maybe it's a good thing the op got cancelled the first time, because what it's taught me is that customers have got a sound, they're reliable, good people that want to help you. And if you're in doubt about that, I can guarantee your customer base is like that. It really is. I think we've all got good people who want to help us. You might have some that don't, or some that just want to work for nothing, but the core people will. So if you're still here now, guys, have a good day. Keep on gardening.